Hey parents and students and athletes, this is Coach Cannon, your athletic director, coming at you with a new video. I'm hoping that your fall sports and your winter sports went well and are going to be going well here as we start hitting December. I know we'll start getting into a few basketball games for both boys and girls. We're very excited about this with our boys program kind of taking on some new faces, young faces, and then our varsity girls program hopefully get back to prominence where we were. I'm here today though to kind of discuss with you some sportsmanship aspects and expectations, what we are looking for at Kelly High School in terms of spring athletics. And today in particular, I'm going to be talking to you about track and field. As you're watching this video, I've also sent you an electronic version, and perhaps you printed it off or you can just pull it up, a couple handouts. Those handouts are going to come in useful. In fact, we'll talk about those later on. So just have those ready. If you have an electronic version, you might want to go ahead and kind of have that in your tabs. I just want to say sportsmanship is a big thing here at Kelly High School. We try our best to have our students achieve, of course, at the highest caliber in sports programs and in the classroom. That's great. We want them to get high ACT scores and go on to nice colleges, and we want them to play athletics, and we want them to be phenomenal at that and move on from here. Some of them can and will. But sportsmanship is a big part of coaches, parents, and teachers, faculty, staff, anybody here at the school. Really, we can help our students expand upon sportsmanship. But like I said before, this is kind of like an introduction to spring track and field. So many of you, this will be pretty redundant. We've heard this before because you've had me as a track coach, but as an AD, we need to go over some things. In those packets, first handout, you'll see it's expectations and guidelines for track and field in particular. Now, these can be applied to any sport. In fact, I use these guidelines for every sport that I coach. I used it just this fall for junior high football, and I like using it. So some of you, well, most of you probably have seen this before if you played football for me. These are some basic guidelines that we're going to need to follow, and the expectations that the athlete is going to need to follow to be a part of our program. And they're not very hard, very self-explanatory, very easy to understand. So if you want to go ahead and get that out, we'll talk about that real quick. We'll get back to the sportsmanship here in a minute near the end of that handout. At the beginning of the handout, we'll have all the expectations that we're looking for in the track and field program, such as you're going to be issued school equipment, well, at least a top and a bottom for jerseys, and then throwing implements, batons, and things of that nature. You're going to have to provide your own shoes, socks, and other things. We do not provide sweats or pullovers or any type of warm-up, so that'll be also on you. The main expectation there is that we issue you school equipment, and we want you to wear it with pride. And in order to do that, it needs to be cleaned. And then near the end of the season, after the season's over, actually, you need to make sure that you turn in the appropriate equipment. That's our big expectation, is that we get that back. Because if we don't get it back, then we have to charge you, and I don't want to charge you. The next one on that list talks about, or one of the ones on the list, talks about the expectation of the student participation, the absences, if you will. Here at Kelly, in that handout, you'll see that we have a 3 absence policy. If you're absent for 3 practices, you will be removed from the team. It's very unfortunate we haven't had to do that yet in my 5 years there. Um, but in order for you to be a top-notch athlete, you're going to have to be at practice, and we can't have anybody missing more than 3. Now, if they're excused, it's different. And of course, always come talk to a coach before you end up getting one of those unexcused absences. Okay. Next is about policies, different policies like traveling to and from games. Well, pretty much if you ride the bus there, you need to ride the bus back unless you have a written note from a parent or the parent is there and they can talk to me and we'll get it down in writing, a signature. I usually have a sign-out sheet. Some coaches will. So that's something we also need to take into consideration. Academics, we need to follow the MSHA guidelines. That's what our school guidelines are. Continue to do that. Of course, if you get more than 1 F in a preceding grading cycle, then you're not eligible. Take a long, hard look at those. It's in that packet, so go ahead and use that. And then, just some basic stuff there at the end with ICU and detention. If you're in after-school detention, don't come to practice because that's part of your punishment. ISS, if you're in there more than half the day, you can't come to practice or games, or track meets, or anything like that. Just kind of refresher on that. If you're on the ICU list, however, you're not exempt from practice. You still need to come to practice, and your coach will probably have punishment for you or some way to make that up, because you, as a student athlete, the student part needs to become first. We'll get that taken care of. So with that being said, that first handout's pretty much done. You need to sign, the player needs to sign and date the bottom sheet, and then also the parents or guardian, you also need to sign it and date it. That way we know that you saw it as well. That way there's no confusion over what kind of expectations that we should be looking for at Kelly High School. The second part of this video, I want to talk a little bit about sportsmanship. This is an ongoing topic throughout athletic directing and other sports. It's how we treat the game, how we treat people and officials, fans, opponents. It pretty much sums up how we treat the game, like I said before. So with that being said, I have that second handout if you want to go ahead and get that out. It's very basic. It's just a list of some examples that I thought up of, some easy examples of what we are looking for as a sportsmanship, character building aspect, and how we're looking, what we're looking for here at Kelly High School in that aspect, in that regard. The first one is, what does sportsmanship look like? I give you some examples. If you're on a football field, you knock someone down, tackle them, great. Help them up. Don't trash talk your opponent. That's certainly not showing good sportsmanship. If your opponent makes a good play, congratulate them. I mean, it's tough. Hopefully you played good defense. Or if if you're, let's just say, for example, tennis. If you're playing tennis and the other person has a good shot, I mean, congratulate them. You're both there for the same reason, for the love of the sport. Some other ways that sportsmanship should look like in our school is that, as a fan base, we are cheering on our team, cheering on positive things that occur. We don't want to encourage any kind of bad behavior in those regards. As parents, we avoid, we don't want to confront officials or players or anybody else. You watch the game and be that example for our student body about good sportsmanship and controlling our attitudes and our emotions. Now, of course, if there's something you want to talk about with the coach or myself or an athletic administrator, just a regular administrator, feel free to go through the command or the ladder. Start with the coach. If that doesn't resolve something, come to me, and that doesn't resolve something, we'll get it resolved. We'll go to a different level. Good sportsmanship is even as simple as cleaning up you're garbage afterwards. I see that a lot. I think that's kind of rude and disrespectful, especially if we're away somewhere. If you have garbage or other types of materials, clean it up. And then the same goes for our athletes. Okay, I know football sidelines get all kinds of tape and gauze and sometimes drinks and food for some reason. I don't know why. Pick it up. Leave it better than when we found it. It's always been my philosophy. And then, of course, there's the obvious ways of not showing good sportsmanship. Okay, booing. Don't boo. Okay, that doesn't show good sportsmanship, and that's definitely not good leadership skills that we want to want our students to pick up. Okay, stuff does happen. Yes, it's not fair. I get upset, especially at the TV, watching any kind of sports. So stay calm about it, okay, and just continue to thrive on the positive aspects. Obviously, we're not going to cheer on the misfortunes or injuries of other teams. That's definitely bad sportsmanship. Of course, littering, any kind of confrontation, even if it's with another fan, okay, that's not good. Okay, so in closing, is kind of just wrapping up this video. I wanted to go over kind of the guidelines of track and field, spring activities, just kind of general, actually, an overall kind of viewpoint of how things should be run expectations wise, and then also a little bit about sportsmanship. Just a reminder that we are influential. Parents, coaches, anybody, even athletes, you're influential to other people around you, even though you may not think that. Please continue to represent our school well. I know you will. And then also remember that we want to show great pride as a community, and we don't want to let any kind of lapse in judgment or sportsmanship affect us in a negative way. Okay? Hawk Pride, Hawk Nation. You can, if you need to contact me, andrew.cannon@kellyhawks.org, or you can call the school and they'll give you my extension, or you can just stop by my office. My office door is open a lot. So thank you very much, and I hope you continue to have great winter seasons, and then also I hope you have a great spring season. All right, thank you.